Hello everyone. I wanted to make a little video about the Waterman Expert. This is the Waterman Expert DeLuxe Navy Blue CT, I believe. And this is the fountain pen. As you can see, strikingly beautiful pen, extremely elegant. What you would expect from Waterman. I like this black little, I don't know if you would even call it a finial at this point at the top here, but I'm going to call it that because I don't know. The snap of the cap feels really nice. The pen feels, I think, very nice in the hand, and I like the somewhat larger grip section. Larger than what you would get in, say, a Waterman Hemisphere. I think these larger pens suit my hands better, but that may not be for everyone. Posted still feels pretty good, and the post feels very nice and secure. This is, of course, the newer one. Let's see how well the nib shows. It just says Waterman Paris on the nib. Not a bad looking nib. Mine's a medium. But I made this video to review the pen for, anybody who is interested in purchasing one of these, and I do think it's a very, very beautiful pen. Certainly if you go somewhere to write your signature with it, it would be great to have. You get this nice long ink cartridge, and they're not exceptionally expensive like if you're shopping on Amazon or something. These are actually quite affordable ink cartridge for the fact that they are so long, and being standard international, you can really replace them with anything you want. You can of course also use a converter. Now, to my knowledge, the pen doesn't come with that. Mine certainly didn't. But apart from a review, I also wanted to ask some people about their experiences with Waterman pens if you're watching this, because let's do a little writing sample here. So this is rhodia paper. Let's see here. Right, so okay. Currently, we have a problem already. There we go. Now, maybe that's just the Waterman Serenity Blue ink, you might say. However, I do actually currently have another pen filled with this ink. Here's the Lamy 2000. Now, this is an extra fine. So if anything, you would expect that this one here would dry out more quickly, but it writes just fine. So there may be some dryness problem associated with the pen, or maybe it's just that the ink cartridge was kind of old at the point where I got it. It does look darker there, but now that it's going, it's going. But here's, me just writing a little bit. Let's write the name, Waterman Expert DeLuxe Navy Blue CT, I believe. I don't know what that stands for. So there was already a bit of a tough start there, and there was already a little bit of skipping even when I made this circle here. And there we go again. Skipping, ink drying, I don't know. And this is not the first time I've had this problem with a Waterman pen. In fact, I've had this problem with all Waterman pens I've ever had now. Well, the only other Waterman pen, modern Waterman pen that I've had is the Waterman Hemisphere. Beautiful pen. I might do a review of that one at some point, but it's always a bit of a problem with these. I also have an old Waterman from the 80s, a Waterman Laureate, I believe it was called. I think with that one, the nib works fine. Yeah, it does seem to be drying very quickly. So maybe different ink, but again, why am I not getting that problem with my Lamy then? You would expect I would get that problem there. But to talk about my 80s Waterman Laureate, which I had actually inherited from my grandfather, that one had, I got an old ink cartridge with that one, and it worked just fine out of that pen. But it had a little bit of, it got some cracks along this section that started leaking ink. And I don't know, I mean, maybe this is simply, you know, I mean, I always want to love these Waterman pens because they really are, I think, very classy, exceptionally beautiful pens. But I've just never had a Waterman fountain pen that didn't have a problem of some kind. So I almost think Watermans may be better as a rollerball or a ballpoint if you can find them, because, you know, ink should not dry this quickly. There we go. So now that might actually be more like skipping. Now I am writing fast, but it's not a problem that I would get with other pens, right? So, for example, here is a Pelikan, just works. Right, and this is even, yes, it's an extra fine nib. Now I am using different ink, true, but I'm positive I would not be getting this problem. Even using this ink in that pen, I'm very sure. I mean, Pelikans are actually, maybe it's a bit of an unfair comparison. Pelikans are really good in terms of just writing, not having problems. But yeah, when it comes to Watermans, I would say here's two Hemisphere, not fountain pens. I don't currently have my my Hemisphere fountain pen inked, but I think if we were to use one of these, right, I think these types of rollerball gel pens are perhaps better. Still, something happened here, but I think now it's fine, right? So like that was just some oldness and it works fine. You can fill these up with just regular Pilot ink cartridges for gel pens. I don't really use the Waterman rollerball cartridges because I actually also have problems with those. So it's really more, oh, this blue one feels really smooth. There's also a Pilot ink cartridge in here. But these Watermans, I really think, you know, they, you know, I guess apart from the ballpoint, yeah, that always works, but I wasn't paying attention here. But apart from these, you know, ballpoint Watermans, I really can't say that these are very reliable pens, and extremely beautiful, right? I mean, you know, these are beautiful, and these ones can be fixed, so to speak. But I mean, what do you do with one of these, right? I mean, is it a nib problem? Is it just the feed? Is it needs a certain kind of ink? Well, why not the Waterman ink? If you're selling me a Waterman pen, I feel like it's the Waterman ink that should work. So I just wanted to maybe put that out there to see if anybody if anybody else has experienced this kind of problem with these Waterman pens, because, you know, I mean, you buy a pen like this, costs a lot of money, you expect it to work, and instead it doesn't. Now, you know, that said, if you go somewhere and you want to sign your name, as long as you can do a little number like this, and then you can sign your name or something, and something like this won't bother anyone, I guess it's fine. But well, I just wanted to hear from some other people what their experiences with Waterman fountain pens have been, because mine have not been the best, even though I absolutely love the style of their writing instruments. Right, here's the Karen ballpoint. I mean, just a classy looking pen. And this one works because it's a ballpoint, right? I also have an Hemisphere ballpoint somewhere. They're great looking writing instruments, but I mean, ballpoint, they're also kind of expensive. Why not just Parker Jotter? I don't know. Well, so give me your input. As far as the pen goes, yeah, I mean, it's beautiful, but will I be keeping it? I mean, perhaps not indefinitely, you know. I mean, unless I find some kind of solution for this that won't cost me more money than what I had intended to pay for this otherwise beautiful pen. I don't know if I can really recommend these pens, and I'm also not sure, you know, I mean, I guess I can sell it and maybe say, hey, there's something slightly wrong with this pen before somebody wants to buy it, but I'm also always kind of cautious about giving pens to people that just don't really work, you know, especially as like a first fountain pen or something like that. It's just, well, I think you guys get the idea. So let me know. And I hope that if you were thinking of purchasing a pen like this or a Waterman, that this kind of will help you. Now, I have heard that the Waterman Karen, they're most expensive, I believe. Well, no, I think there's one that's more expensive than that, but the Karen fountain pens are actually of pretty good quality. But for me, Waterman, I love the look of them, so I probably would get the roller balls and ballpoint pens. All right. So till next time, maybe I can make a follow-up video on this one if I do get a Karen, and see what I discover there. Thank you.